But I want to thank House Republicans for passing another common sense measure, to me the easiest of all, the Save America Act, to protect our sacred American. Look at this. Look. It's the easiest thing we have. It's the easiest thing we have. Now, the problem is you call it the SAVE Act, and nobody knew what the hell the SAVE Act. Have you been seeing? I've been working overtime the last month. It's called the Save America Act. And I saw Schumer yesterday. We will stop Save America. He's getting killed. They can't do it. And then the things within the Save America are so good. But just the title. So we had that with MAGA. Greatest name of all time. Make America Great Again. MAGA. It just worked. You know, I had something, Keep America Great. It was good, but it didn't have that MAGA. You know, there was nothing you could see. I had CAG. And CAG, I said, you know, no longer, that's not good. But MAGA is great, and we'll always respect MAGA. We love MAGA. We're never going to let you down with MAGA. But this one's even better if you think about it. This says, America. We're going to save America. The Save America. How can they fight us? The Save America Act. And I've watched them. I watched Schumer, who's horrible. What a horrible politician. He is now a Palestinian officially. He is registered as a Palestinian. He's taken the biggest turn of any human being I've ever seen. He's gone from totally pro-Israel to totally pro-Palestinian. He wants to protect the Iranian people that are quite nasty. But it's very simple. All voters must show the act. Voter ID. Ready? This is not complicated. Voter identification. Now, I have a whole list, but I don't want to put. I have like hundreds of things on the list. If you go shopping, if you do this, if you buy a car, if you license a car, if you point to everything you need to have identification. So all voters have to show identification, ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. So you have ID and you have citizenship. So far, good. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. Mail-in ballots are a disaster. Jimmy Carter, the best thing he ever did, he headed a commission after he was president. It was the single best thing, and he did a thing on mail-in ballots. He said mail-in ballots should not be allowed because they are inherently dishonest. And we have seen it time and time again, and we just keep going with it. And I put that down as a top three. Look, no mail-in. Now, you have the exceptions for the military, and I would even say foreign-based military. But for the military, for disability, for illness, and if you're traveling, you have an excuse. And I was lenient on that. But those three things. Then I added two more. These are best of, best of. These are called best of Trump. We should also add on to this bill. And so what I've asked Mike to do is to draw a new one with these few things added. And let's go for the gold. Let's not just get one like voter ID, but, it can be given to you by your daughter. Your daughter, she has to be of age, like above 6 years old, she's allowed to say. You had to see some of this stuff is so bad. They're doing everything possible because they know if we get this, they probably won't win an election for 50 years, okay? And maybe longer. And they're going to fight like hell. But boy, do they get killed. Because even the Democrats, you saw the numbers today, Democrats voted 86% that this stuff should be passed. The Democrats. With Republicans, you're at 98%. But Democrats are at 86%, except for the people that run the Democrat Party, because they want to try and win elections illegally. It's the only reason you vote against voter ID is because you want to cheat. There's no other reason. They come up with reasons. They say, it's racist. That's their number one, racist. Then you have to explain it, and they're just sitting there mumbling. They can't explain it. And it's actually very insulting when they use the term racist. Very insulting to the people that they're trying to so-called defend, but they're not defending. Then I wanted to add 2 more to it because they're, I say 95%, maybe 100%. No men in women's sports, very simple. Add that in. And I wanted to add in one other, I'm not even adding in no open borders because, there's some people that like open borders. These people are crazy, but that's okay. Because I want 5 things that are like close to 100%. No transgender mutilation surgery for our children. You can't have transgender for our children. So those 5 things. 5 things. Voter ID, citizenship, mail-in ballots, no mail-in ballots. Right? We don't want men playing in women's sports. That's got to be about close to 100%. We don't want men playing in women's sports and no transgender mutilation of our children. Now, that should be the easiest thing to get past that you've ever had. Each one, it's best of Trump. Those are best of Trump. I have some that are very popular, but I wouldn't put them in that category. This is the number 1 priority. It should be for the House. And I'd like to ask Tom, Steve, Mike, all of you, if you would, I'd like to have you go back and Lisa, hello, darling. She was screaming her affirmation of what I said. The kid went wild. She was so happy that somebody finally said, let's vote on this. Lisa, you're going to get it done. Okay, I'm going to count on you. Forget the men up here. I'm going to count. Deal. But it's actually a matter in a serious way of national survival. We can't have these elections going on like this anymore. You use paper ballots. If right now they have watermark, it's so safe, it's so good. You put it gets under a light. It says, a code. It's very, very hard to cheat. Another thing, and I don't even bring this up, it costs 7% the cost of those crazy machines. I love the machines where they get the machines, they spend all this money, and they announce during the election that the tabulation will go along for another 3 weeks. Right? With mail-in voting, there's not a country in the world that does mail-in ballots anymore. They tried it. France tried it. It failed. They go to paper ballots. They're all doing paper ballots right now. Most of them are doing paper ballots, except us. And nobody is doing what we're doing. And there's no elections so corrupt as the elections in the United States of America. And we can solve them with this. And the reason I put those other 2 that have not much to do with it is because they are equally popular. And I think it might help us. And for those people that like Pfizer, I said maybe you put them together because a lot of people feel very strongly about Pfizer. Some people don't, but the people that want it, they really want it. And generally, for whatever reason, they're opposed to what we're saying about, about the ballots and about citizenship and all of those things. And so put them together and you might get a vote, but we have to get it done. And then we have to get the Senate to do it. But if you could send a bill up to the Senate, we're going for the gold. We don't want what was said. The SAVE Act, it was all right. Nobody knew what the hell it was, including me. I kept saying, what's this? Save America Act. Don't ever say SAVE Act again. It's a loser. The SAVE Act. Nobody has any idea what are we trying to save. It's the Save America Act. If you could send it up in full form, meaning just straight, I think the Senate has to approve it. I really do. And they're going to have to go the filibuster. And maybe it's going to be the talking filibuster like the old days. The great Jimmy Stewart, right? Remember the great movie, Jimmy Stewart? But they have to get it done because if we don't get this done, if it takes you 6 months, I'm for not approving anything. I don't think we should approve anything until this is approved. And they can't win politically. Look, you have them in a corner, and they're listening to every word I'm saying, and it doesn't matter, because they can't win it politically. Because when they say, we don't want voter identification, we don't want proof of citizenship, all these things are just losers for them. And they won't be able to withstand it. Just like at the State of the Union, they started clapping at the end. I said that. And the reason, because politically, you have to stand for these great people that were being. And the word came out from people watching it on television, you guys are getting killed. And this is an even bigger example. So if I could ask the people in this room to go for the gold. We're going for the gold. We're not going for the bronze. We're not going to sign a watered-down version like has been sent up there. Let's go for the gold, and let's just not accept anything else. I'll tell you what, I'm willing to just sort of say I'm not going to sign anything until this is approved. I really am. That's how bad it is. And we're going to have to push the Senate, because you have 4 or 5 senators that are, I don't know, 4 or 5 Republican senators. You'll have to explain them to me, but we're not going to get into that. But we're going to push them to get it done, because I don't think you can politically exist if you're not going to do voter ID and these things. I don't think the people in this country will stand for it. So I'm making my biggest plea tonight. It'll make you, and I'm not doing it for this reason at all. It'll guarantee the midterms. It'll guarantee the midterms. If you don't get it, big trouble, my opinion. If you get this, your midterms, and they know it. For 2 reasons. Number 1, they won't be able to cheat. And number 2, the people are demanding it. Every time I go out, Save America, sir, Save America Act. We want the Save America Act, sir. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about housing. They don't talk about anything. That's what they talk about. And if you send it up there, you're going to win the midterms at levels that you can't even believe. And you're going to win every election for a long time until somebody really screws things up, and hopefully that won't happen. But I've never been more confident that if we keep these promises and deliver on this popular agenda, the American people will stand with us in overwhelming numbers, just as they did in 2024. I heard Mike say it's actually 78 million votes, but it was actually 86. You know, they cheated like hell, but it was too big to rig. Remember? I won 3 times. First time was great. Second time, they cheated like hell. It was COVID. And their cheating was at an inspirational level. We can't let that ever happen again. And then they cheated again in the last election, but I went up. The term I used most was too big to rig. You got to go out. Don't believe, because we had polls having us way up. I said, don't believe the polls. Go out and vote. Make it too big to rig. And that's what happened. A couple of races they cheated on, they got away with it. A couple of Senate races, my opinion. But we have to make it too big to rig, and that's what we did. But we shouldn't have to win an election that way. You're going to have a hard time winning elections that way. So you got to get that passed. And if we fight, we will win, and we will make our country safer and stronger and richer and greater than it ever has been before. And I want to say, very importantly, because they would like you not to say